Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review impressions of a knife that was given to the channel by TRM Knives, Three Rivers Manufacturing. Yeah, this is the Bulldog. You saw me check this out at Blade Show, Texas in the first prototype. Now we have the production version. Let's take a look at this. Alright, today I'm looking at the TRM Bulldog. This is a Riverlock, which is like the crossbar lock, right? It's TRM's version of the crossbar lock. It also has a finger hole where you can deploy it. And of course, with a crossbar lock, the Riverlock, you can open it. Omega springs inside. This is the G10 version, beautifully chamfered all the way around. Titanium clip right there. We can double check that. No, magnetic pull on that. The blade steel here on this one is Magnacut. So this is TRM Magnacut. Nice flat grind. This is very reminiscent, very similar to the Neutron. So let me pull up my Neutron, kind of compare here. So here's a Neutron. It's a liner lock, and this one is the Riverlock. So very similar in size, very similar in a lot of regards. And I think that was very much intentional to kind of give you that same similar look. Good hand feel ergos, and I like that because someone who has large hands with big meaty fingers, I can get nice grip, good presentation in there. Not going to be in danger of things like that. Pretty decent blade stock thickness on this one. Surprisingly thicker than the TRM Neutron, but that was kind of surprising. So the designer is Les from TRM. He's the one who actually designed these knives. Has designed most of the TRM knives, right? So he did the Bulldog, he did the Neutron, he did the the Atom, he's done the fixed blade, he's done the Shadow, and a whole bunch of other knives, right? So the Neutron, the Nerd, the Nerdy, the Holy Nerd, and all the other ones, right? So this particular design is another one of his, and this incorporates, sort of the best of the Shadow into a smaller kind of frame style. I like this a lot. The G10 is pretty well textured. It's got good grip. It reminds me very much of the Spyderco G10, if you will. Sorry, I had a little bit of pocket lint there from my pants because sometimes my pockets get ripped up from carrying so many different knives. Notice it is inset as far as the clip is with recessed screws. That's really nice. T6s all the way around. That's how you can get this off. Now, this is not a just easy swap scale. You actually have to get the pivot off to change it out. I did put Skiff Caged Bearings in there. Took some very, very thin ones. I know the ones that they had in there, they didn't want you to take it apart, but I did. I took it apart, and I think the knife is better. The knife is better having the skiffs in there. I mean, I just think they're just a better caged bearing altogether than what was in there already. Now, this knife is a little small. I have found that it's a little challenging for the reverse flick here to get really in there and really use it. I think the slow roll open works really nicely. It's very easy to control both left and right-handed, so I like that. But that reverse, you gotta really get in there and make sure you're clear of everything, right? So it's a little bit of challenge. It's a little bit challenging as far as that's concerned. Got a little something on my hands there. Oh, okay. There's that. This does have the full backspacer, which is the G10's backspacer. It doesn't have just the standoffs like they traditionally do. These are steel liners in there, just so you know. Fully steel liners, and they go all the way through. And they cover up the Omega springs in there, so that's nice. Pretty solid Omega springs. Got some nice tension. Definitely feel like you can get a nice pop in the deployment, which is nice. So I do like that. Materials, G10 steel liners, titanium clip, pivot, captive pivot, Magnacut blade, flat grind. I won't say full flat grind because it kind of stops right there, but it does come to a nice thin edge. Nice cut, very slicey, and very, seems like a good cutter, right? And the Magnacut has a nice edge on there. If you notice, the edge is pretty even on both sides. Yeah, a little shorter on the back end right there, which happens. Can choke up, can use the outside. Now, my hands are large hands with big meaty fingers, so there you go. Keep that in mind. Anything larger, you're going to definitely be over. If you choke up, have a little extra room, so I think an extra large with big meaty fingers, double extra large with regular size fingers, triple extra large with, thinner fingers. So there you go. Keep that in mind as far as size and everything. How does it open and close? Thumb hole, a fuller hole, whatever you want to call it. It could be a slow roll, That seems to work to me the best. You can reverse flick it, but you got to make sure you get that timed right. You can thumb flick it as well. And of course, you can use the Riverlock, right? So Riverlock, which is typical of any axis lock. I think that's pretty cool, pretty cool. So it's got beautiful chamfering all the way around on the edges, so that's really nice. Good, a little axis cut away from there, which is nice. Getting to the crossbar Riverlock is pretty relatively easy, I think. Not too difficult. I mean, it is smaller, so sometimes it can be a little challenging, depending on if gloves or longer fingers, whatever. All those things, just keep that in mind. Blade shape is a nice drop point. I would consider this a drop point, right? I like that. All right, so let's do some measurements on this guy. All right, so I'm going to guess about 3.5, maybe 3.3. I don't know. 3.5, 3.5. I was right the first time. 3.5 ounces, so not bad. It's not a super small knife. Let's get a little measurements on this. This is where I think it kind of shows, right? So it's right at 7 inches, 7 1/8 of an inch, right? The initial grip right here is about 3 1/4 inches. If you go to the back, maybe 3.5. If you use the finger choke up position, you get about 4 inches, 4 1/8. So that's nice. From the tip to the top of the scales is just under 3 inches. The blade cutting length is actually going to be 3 7/8. So, keep that in mind. It's right at that close range to what, if you have 3 inches or less, it might be considered too long. So, keep that in mind depending on where you live and stuff, as far as the laws, the knife laws that you deal with. All right. So the blade length we got a little under 7 inches, 3.5 inches. Let's do the blade stock thickness, because I did notice this was thicker than the typical Neutron. So let's kind of measure that real quick. All right, so we got 120 thousandths of an inch. And what was the Neutron again? Kind of curious. 991 thousandths of an inch. All right, so definitely a little thicker. Definitely has some more substance to it as far as the blade. Probably a little harder working blade, I guess, in that regard. So that's nice, nice. All right, so what's the category on this knife? Well, this one right now with the G10 is going to fall into the regular category. It's under $300, so that's a nice place, but not for long. I don't, as of this video, that's what it is. It could go up. If you put G10 fat carbon, anything like that, it's definitely going to make the price go up as well. So this knife obviously is a regular knife, and that's what I would consider it. So the purpose, EDC hard use collection piece. Any knife can be a collection piece in this range. I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, I just don't consider super budget knives collection pieces at all. But this is not that. This is a regular piece, kind of close to the higher end of the regular piece. So it could be EDC. It could be hard use. It all depends on what you like and how you like the lock and your size of your hands and everything. Ergos, I think you just really have to kind of get a feel for that and make sure you're comfortable with it. All right, so ergos and feel overall as far as the knife is concerned. How does it handle? Beautiful chamfering all the way around, no sharp edges, even the crossbar, pins right here in the crossbar itself with the little kind of, I don't know, volcano step milled, end of the studs or whatever you want to call it. Works nicely as far as the Riverlock. So you can open and close it pretty well, right? And as far as the Riverlock, then we do have the thumb hole. The thumb hole works relatively decent. With the right hand, it's pretty easy. Left hand is where I get a little challenged. I mean, I can still do the thumb, but just to get that right, you just have to do a little extra whip to it. And then, of course, you can use the crossbar lock, the Riverlock right here, just to open and close it. That's nice. All right, so overall feel, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little small for my hands. I think it's cool. I think it's definitely going to have a huge appeal for people who like this size knife. I definitely think it's worth someone to consider. So I think that's pretty doggone cool. All right, so the overall feel of the knife, it's pretty nice. It is pretty nice. I like it. Like I said, I have to look at the intention and the market for what this knife is going to be. Who is it for? Is it for someone with giant hands or small hands? And obviously it's someone with smaller hands. And so I'm, now we're in that particular category where it doesn't quite fit my ergos, but it's still very cool. And I like the overall design. I like the intention of it. So I think that's really cool. So I'm choosing to look at it from that perspective and appreciating the knife from that perspective. So overall, opening, closing, everything's pretty good. Pretty good. What's the fidget factor? Well, you've got the thumb holes. They work pretty nicely, right? And then you've got the Riverlock itself, and that works pretty nicely. So I think the fidget factor is a 3. Yeah, not absolutely solid 3, but it's around the 3, right? So I'm going to give it a 3. As far as the fidgety goodness, what do I think about this fidgety goodness? Well, This one's going to be about an 85. It's a good solid B, right? I don't know if I'd call it an A or A plus at this point. It could be just because of my hands and hand size and lack of contoured shape and stuff like that, but I like it. So overall, is it recommended? Well, here's the caveat. For me, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. I like it. I like everything about it. It's intended for smaller hands. And so I have to go with the intent and the purpose of this knife, right? Just like with this one. Now, this one just happens to work out really well for my hand shape, but, you know, it might not have. If they hadn't done this little finger trollless relief, this would have been too small for me. So, but it's still a great knife. Likewise, I feel about this. This is still a great knife, still a great design. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, it's recommended, just with the caveat that who's it for? What's the intended audience? It's someone who likes the smaller knives. And if you do, this is going to be outstanding. Now, if you don't like smaller knives and you're not a fan of it, then take this with a grain of salt. Maybe not consider this, because you might struggle. It might be a little more challenging than you want it to be. And you want to enjoy the knife. And so there's the Shadow. There's other knives, and hopefully they'll come out with it, maybe like an Atom version. I think that would be super cool if they did that, like an Atom version. TRM, hey, maybe do an Atom version. That would be cool. Right? So anyways, whether they do it or not, that's totally their call. It's up to Les and Marianne what they want to do. But I'm just saying, I like it. I like it. I wish it was a little bit bigger for me personally, but knowing the intent of the audience, I think it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't think you could go wrong if you like the shape, if you like the ergonomics, the size seems right to you. I think it's a great knife. I think you'll be very, very happy. If you're concerned about a smaller knife, you're concerned about those things, you know, think twice about it and see what other things are out there. I mean, the TRM liner lock is fantastic. That's absolutely a possibility for, you know, if you don't want the Riverlock. Just something to think about. I think they're both great knives. Really, really do. Very, very thankful to TRM for allowing me to check it out. I think it's going to make a fantastic giveaway. Super generous of them. We'll have a big promotion for the giveaway. I'm super excited about that. So hopefully you'll find this interesting and motivate and encourage you as well. And yeah, that's the Bulldog, the TRM Bulldog. I think it's a pretty cool knife. Let me know what your thoughts if you already have one. If you owned one, if you had one, you handled one, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your mindset, and all that good stuff. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button down below as well? Subscribing and liking the channel really helps out the channel, allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to everyone out there who watches the video, who watches the channel, who watches, you know, comments, who's part of the live stream. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'd sure appreciate you. And if you haven't already, you know, hit that notification button down below as well, so you'll be notified of future content like this video. A big shout out to my channel members out there. You know who you are. I appreciate you so very much. If it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be possible for me to do many of the things that I do so soon. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I do appreciate you. We are going to have a once a month members giveaway as a way to say thank you. And I also like to give all brand new channel members a channel member sticker. You know, just a small little note and say thank you. Yeah, and as members, if you know, you have the once a month members giveaway, so hopefully it's something worthwhile. It's not just a little budget banger, but it's a little nicer knife, so you know, something that you would enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the channel members out there. I appreciate you. Also, send me your name and address, and I can mail you a sticker, a little thank you card. I'd love to do that. Show my appreciation as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all have a great day. Oh, I haven't already. Check me out over on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week.